So, let's take a little quiz. You can raise your hand more than once. Raise your hand if you think there are more than 3 major problems in America today. That's a full house. Raise your hand if you think there are more than 10 major problems in America today. All right. We'll see if we can thin this out. Raise your hand if you think there's more than 50 serious major problems. Now we're starting to get a little lower. Oh, well, let's keep going. Raise your hand if you think there's more than, I'm not joking, if you think there's 100 serious issues that need to be addressed. Okay, we're starting to thin it out. I hate to disagree with you guys, but you're wrong. There are not 50 major problems. There are not 100. There are not 5. There are not 3. We have one problem in this country today. And if you it's not Obama. It's not. I knew you were going to say that, but it's important that you understand this. The problem in the country today is not Obama. The problem in the country today is not liberalism. The problem is not progressivism. The problem is not power grabs. The problem is not dictatorship. The problem in America today is that we do not have a free press, period. That's it. That's all. Because if we did have an actual functioning free press whose job is to be the immune system of a democracy and a republic, whose job is to root out incompetence, treason, corruption, if that system is functioning, he never would have been president in the first place, ever. If people knew what we saw in some of these opening introductory videos, if there had been a free press and the American people knew about this stuff with Columbia, knew about all these connections, knew about him getting his career started in Bill Ayers, if the free press had asked hard questions about Reverend Wright, if the free press had done their job, he never would have been elected in the first place. And if there was a free press in the country, any one of these objections would certainly have been impeachable activities. Certainly they would have been. And he never, ever, ever would have been reelected if there'd been a free press in this country. There is no press. We are people, as a people, dying of AIDS because the immune system of the country is the press. It's the ability to find out what corrupt people are doing and what lies are being told and report them to the American people. And when that service, when that activity, when that system no longer functions, you are in fatal danger. Because now any little infection can grow. So the problem is not the infection. The problem is not Obama. The problem is not liberalism. The problem is there are no defenses against these things anymore. And people ask me sometimes, so what do you want? Do you want a conservative press? You want a right-wing press? No, I don't want a conservative press, because if the press were uniformly conservative and did to us the kind of tongue bath that they give to the president, then we'd start falling into error, and then we'd start making these arrogant mistakes, and we'd start thinking we could get away with anything. I don't want a conservative press. I want an unbiased, free press that looks as hard into everybody as it looks into everybody else. One problem in this country, one, it's the press. Now we get to the core of the issue, because we can cry about this all we want to, and we can talk about how unfair it is, and it is unfair. And we can talk about how fatal it is to the country, and it is fatal to the country. But it's there, and to deny it and to wish it away is to kind of fall into the essence of what progressivism is, right? I wish things were different, so therefore they will be. The essence, to me, personally, of conservatism is, what is reality? What's the reality of the human condition? What's the reality of human nature? And how do you build a system to protect you and defend you against that? You have to have the ability to look at things through cold, clear eyes of reason and take your emotions out of it and look at what's really going on the ground. And if you look at what's really going on the ground, you have now, as a result, look, this is not accidental. For 40 years, the progressives have targeted journalists, journalism schools and law schools, to get done what they never in a million years could have gotten done through the free will of the voting American public. So they control the information through the press, and they control the courts to overrule the will of the people during those few segments where the American people see something so ludicrous that they decide they're going to vote against it anyway. So we have one problem in this country. We have no free press. And if we're going to face that problem like adults, instead of wishing it would go away or complaining about how unfair it is, both of which I do on a daily basis, by the way, then we have to start thinking differently. We have to start thinking differently. I wrote an essay on my website called Bamboo Spears. It was a hard essay for me to write. But basically, here's what I was saying. We were talking about the press bias, and my friend Glenn Reynolds, who runs a great website called Instapundit, said that given the press bias that we see today, it's like trying to go ashore at Normandy when the Germans have complete air superiority. And I thought, oh man, that's exactly it. That's something I can relate to. I'm a pilot. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I've told this sad, sad story so many times. I'm beginning to sound like such a whiner and a complainer, but I saw the Thunderbirds when I was 5, and between 5 and 17, I was preparing to go for the Air Force Academy. I was a giant geek with a calculator on my belt, and I was studying physics and astronomy and studying every weapon we have in our inventory, and I knew the difference between a Sidewinder 9 Mike and a Sidewinder 9er X. I knew all this stuff. And then I went to take a vision test. I didn't even know I had a vision problem, but I failed it, and that was the end of that. But I think like a fighter pilot. I have that instinct, and I have enormous pride. In fact, I have unlimited pride, more pride than anything in myself, in our American military, because when I see those carrier battle groups at sea, and when I see those F-18s going off of the deck, and when I see the B-2s and the F-16s and the Air Force stuff, when I watch those even recreations in movies like Oh Dark 30, when I watch our Special Forces guys operating and how mechanically perfect they are and how just lethal. I know a guy who's on SEAL Team 8, and he gave me half an hour's worth of shooting tips, and honest to God, it's like watching a machine. It's like watching a perfectly constructed machine. And I think about the power, and I think about the magnitude and the majesty and the skill of our American armed services. And that's what I identify with. And that's what we all identify with too. But folks, here's the message I've got to bring you. If we're talking about the political fight, you've got to start thinking completely differently. Because if we're talking about the political fight, we don't have aircraft carriers, we don't have tanks, we don't have special forces, we don't have bombers. They've got those things. They do. We have bamboo spears. We have no air cover politically. We have no massed forces that we can deploy, like Media Matters and all those other guys. We've got no standing armies. We've got no reserves. They have those things. And for me, as a person who loves the military and who loves the entire idea of American military power, for me to be able to get myself out of that team and put myself on the other team, to start thinking like the Viet Cong, is repugnant to me. It's painful. It hurts me. It actually physically causes me some pain. But the cold, hard reality of it is, if you look at where we are in terms of how demonized we are, in terms of how constantly the message about the Tea Party is you're racist, you're homophobes, you're misogynists. You were racist before. Wait till Hillary. You'll start to become misogynist. It'll be the war on women. That's coming. Don't you worry. And all of this other stuff, when you realize how much they control the total information flow, if you're going to be realistic about this, you have to understand they have the air power, not us. They have the ability to call in airstrikes, not us. Anytime we have somebody like Ted Cruz or anybody else that starts to get a little bit of traction, they have the ability to put B-52 strikes down on top of him. And if you don't believe me, you just look at the coverage that Chris Christie got versus the coverage that Hillary Clinton got. Who's got the bamboo spears and who's got the Air Force when it comes to the political argument here? They have the Air Force. We have the bamboo spears. It's a hard, disgusting, cold reality. But we better face it. We'd better face it. Which means that if we're going to accept this premise, we have to change the way we fight these people. Because frankly, I'd rather fight them with bamboo spears than stop fighting them at all. I'm going to fight them till I can't fight them anymore. I'm never going to stop fighting these people and what they represent. So what does that mean for us politically? Well, if they're the United States Air Force and we're the Viet Cong, what it means is we have to start thinking about things very, very differently. We have to understand that any time we are concentrated enough or powerful enough to represent a target, that target's going to be hit. They have the ability to see what we're doing. They have the ability to target what we're doing. And so we have to start thinking in completely different ways. And that's my personal opinion, but I'm just going to tell you the case I'm trying to make here. We have to be thinking about being dispersed. We have to think about being undercover. We have to think about working in ways that don't particularly attract that kind of attention. We have to be thinking about ourselves as individual commandos, individual operatives who have secret connections to other people, underground connections, who have the ability to do many different things rather than you're not just an infantry guy. You've got to be an infantry guy and a cook, and you've got to know how to do all these other things. You've got to be able to form these connections and start hitting these people where they live. Because where they live is in their image. They live in their image of themselves. Progressivism is so easy to defeat. I've talked to Tammy Bruce about this. You sit down with a progressive 22-year-old college student, and in 15 minutes I can flip that kid. I guarantee you I can. Because they never hear our message, which is why they have to do this all the time. My favorite political statement of the day is, liberals want conservatives to shut up, and conservatives want liberals to keep talking. Because when you understand what liberalism is, what progressivism is, nobody wants to be a part of it. Nobody wants to be a part of it, exactly. People want to be left alone. People want to control their own lives. People don't want other people to tell them what to do. That's the essence of what conservatism is. Back off, step off, get away. You don't have any business to tell me what to do. What's the matter with you? You're one of these student council wonks. You're going to tell me what temperature my house is going to be. You're going to tell me what car I'm going to drive. You're going to tell me what size of a soda I can drink. Who really wants that? Nobody. Nobody wants that. Nobody. So why is it that they've got the Air Force and we've got the bamboo spears? It's because they have so demonized all of us that no one listens to us anymore. They don't even listen. Oh, he's a Tea Party guy. Oh, Cruz he's a right-wing conservative nut. So if we're going to use cover, in my opinion, if we're going to use cover, we got to start using different language. You have to start using camouflage. And if you think I'm talking about changing our message, you have misunderstood me completely. I think the message is 100% the answer for humanity for all time. Freedom, individual responsibility, private property, self-defense, these are timeless issues, and every single person in America and around the world wants them. What they don't want is the elephant with the square legs and the little curly trunk. They don't want to be those mean-spirited Republicans. They don't want to be those crazy, nutty Tea Party people. So for me, working as somebody who understands how this media message works, I have some ideas. I have some ideas about rebranding. So let's talk about rebranding. Rebranding doesn't mean changing the message. Rebranding means changing the box the message comes into. This brand that we have now is so toxic that no one even listens to us. So let's start with the Republicans. Let's start with that little logo I told you about. You all know what the RNC logo is, right? The little blocky square elephant. I study graphics. It's important to me. If I were to just show you a picture here on background of, in place of Thomas Jefferson, if I were to put the Playboy bunny up there, you would instantly know what that means. You'd know instantly what it represents. If over here, if I were to put a big circle and two smaller circles on the top, you'd know that's Mickey Mouse, that's Walt Disney, and you would instantly know what that represents. So these kind of things are important. And when you look at the Republican logo, just as an example, what have you got? You've got what should be the most magnificent creature on the face of the earth, the elephant. Smartest creature on the face of the earth, by the way, too. Reduced to a blocky, small, square, blind, with a little tiny little appendage for a trunk. If I was a Democrat operative, I could not have designed a better logo for my opponents than the one that we use every day. This may not seem like much to you, but to young people especially, it telegraphs everything. If we are the GOP and we represent, and our animal is the elephant, then why is our logo not some stylized thing of the most powerful, large, intelligent animal on the earth with its head down and fire in its eyes and its trumpet out there bloating and bleeding? You know, we have the elephant, the smartest animal in the world. Their animal is the jackass, which is the stupidest animal in the world. So why do we not have a big red elephant with fire in his eyes and just his head's blaring and he's charging and he's on the charge? And our motto for the Republican Party should be, don't be an ass, period. That's it.